Good evening, this is Phil from the Tiny House Family north of 60, and it is April 2nd, 2013. It's been a while since I've given you an update, but I thought I would stop in and give you guys an update. You're looking at our tiny house on the outside, and I think I'm going to stay on the outside today. I want to talk to you a little bit about our challenges and pitfalls of tiny house living north of 60. As you can see, it's April 2nd, we still got snow on the ground. There is no shortage of snow here. It is warming up, things are melting, but let's talk about the challenges. So one of the first challenges, living north of 60, cold, extreme climate, is propane. And we have two 100-pound propane tanks. Well, one's not quite 100 pounds, but close enough. And this is what supplies our propane to the house. One of the challenges with propane, as you know, is that it does not vaporize very easily. Minus 37, it gets really hard for propane to vaporize. So we've seen temperatures as much as minus 47 here at the tiny house this year. So some of the things I had to do was get battery blankets, which you can see battery blankets down at the bottom of the tanks. Those are just your everyday truck battery blanket from your local hardware store. And those have a thermostat in them, so they sense the temperature outside and turn on when necessary, so it doesn't overheat the tank, but it allows enough heat to get into that tank to allow the liquid propane to turn into a gas. The other thing that I had to do is put on this little rickshaw foam here, and I'll take this off. And the thing that I've done behind here, that's where our regulator's at, and I had to put a light bulb back in behind there when it's really cold, so that we could have our propane run. It is on an automatic switch. You can kind of see that propane's already getting low on the one side, and it should switch over soon. But yeah, anyways, that's one of the challenges. So we did have some propane issues, but as soon as I made those changes, the light bulb and the blankets, we had no problem. The other challenge we had was with our hot water. And right now, my wife's inside using the hot water. That's the noise you hear. That's our hot water tank right there. Actually, it's not a tank. It is tankless, on-demand hot water. It is a Girard hot water tankless unit. It's great. We love it. But we also have some getting used to here in the north. One of the issues that we had, I'll just open it up here. One of the issues we had here for us was this right here. That's what you call the sail switch. And that sail switch, basically, I think it's good to minus 40. It failed on us. So it was not allowing the unit to operate properly. Had to replace it. I actually have that's a new one, and I have a backup sail switch just in case. So that was the other issue with in regards to water. I do have one more thing about water. One of the other challenges of living in a tiny house, maybe I'll put that on after, let's do that, is heat tape. So let's take you down here, and I am running heat tape, and what you're looking at is one of the drain pipes coming out of the kitchen, and I've attached, as you can see, some heat tape to that pipe, and this heat tape's worked okay. It's your cheap heat tape, but it's the same heat tape that I put on our water line, and our water line comes into this box here, and I've created a box to my inlet just to create some sort of insulation. There is insulation inside this box, and I've also wrapped the water line, which is this black pipe here. I've wrapped that in foam, and originally with that water line, I had the cheap heat tape on. I'll walk around and kind of show you our water line, how far it goes. Our water line runs about 100 feet here at the tiny house to the shop, and it is always surrounded by ice and water. So there it is there. We walk over it. It goes underneath the tiny house. And I was using cheap heat tape. And I mean cheap heat tape, just the stuff you get at at your hardware store, nothing professional grade. That's the orange stuff. That there is a thermostat, and the problem with that kind of heat tape is that it senses the temperature, and when the temperature gets to a certain point, it turns on. The problem is it turns on full blast and it stays on, so the heat tape burns out really easy. So what I had to do is I had to go and spend big bucks and get a professional heat tape, which I've done this before when we lived in a fifth wheel for a couple years, and it was fine when we went to a professional heat tape. And now our tiny house has got water all the time. It's been cold here even this spring. We've been down minus 36, minus 37 here in the spring already. So the heat tape just sits out on the ground just like that, and we haven't had an issue since that. So really, it's really important to take care of your water. You want to wrap it up with that foam insulation, get it at your hardware store. It's just PEX pipe that we've got. It's a 100-foot roll of PEX, and we got 100 foot of heat tape. And the heat tape is really important. It's self-regulating heat tape. It's really important that it's self-regulating, because as a self-regulating heat tape, it can be really hot in this location because it's in the ice, but over here where it's maybe not in the ice, it's not as hot. So that's really important. Some of the other things that we just noticed with the tiny house through the winter is skirting. That's been the other challenge. We were in a hurry to get inside and get out of the cabin that we were staying in, because we wanted to be in the tiny house. We were excited. But I should have skirted, put skirting down on the bottom here. That would have kept out the wind and kept things a little warmer underneath the tiny house, and perhaps not allow things to freeze up. So some of the things that we've noticed, we have our this pipe right here is coming out of our compost toilet, and goes into essentially a French drain as directed by the manufacturer. And it was freezing up on us, and so I had to put heat tape on it as well. But what I'd like to do is to skirt this whole area of the trailer this summer when the weather changes here. So that's going to really keep things warmer underneath there. The floor was a little bit cool in the tiny house because of that, and I think would keep things cool as well. I did something inside, which I'll do in another video to kind of show how I fixed that. But anyways, I just wanted to give you guys an update on kind of the challenges of living in a tiny house north of 60. And my name's Phil, and I want to thank you for dropping in and saying hi. And yeah, anyways, let me know what you think. And we'll talk to you later from the tiny house north of 60.